Howdy, folks. This is just a reminder that if you like this content, you can help me out by liking, commenting, and especially by subscribing. And be sure to hit the bell notification so you always get notified whenever I have a new video. Hope you enjoy this. Now we've got Deutscher Michael, who said, or maybe I should pronounce that Deutscher Michael. My German pronunciation is not the best. But he says, is it a sin for married people to do the married people thing? By the way, points for keeping it family friendly. To do the married people thing if the husband voluntarily got his reproductive ability clinically removed without medical necessity. It is not a sin to do this. So we're talking about voluntary sterility, which is a subset of sterility. So is it a sin for a married couple that is sterile to have marital relations? No. In fact, at some point, assuming they have a long and happy marriage, almost all married couples end up in a sterile state. So and yet neither the Bible nor anything in church history says that they should stop having marital relations once they've passed the point of infertility. And so there's nothing wrong with having relations if one of the partners is sterile. Now in Deutscher I'm just going to say Michael. In Deutscher Michael's situation that he describes, the husband is sterile voluntarily, and that does have a moral dimension to it. That can be sinful. So when the husband in this situation was sterilized without medical necessity, that was a sin. But just because you sinned in the past doesn't mean your current actions are sinful. We've already seen from the case of other sterile couples that merely having marital relations when you're sterile is not sinful in itself. So where the sin was when you I'm not saying Deutscher Michael did this, I'm speaking hypothetically. But when whoever it was got sterilized, that's when the sin was. It's in the past. And unless you renew that sin with a new act of will, like saying, oh boy, I so approve of the fact I got sterilized back then you're not committing a new sin. On the other hand, if you do renew the act of will and say, I am so glad that I got sterilized 10 years ago so that my wife and I have no chance of having a baby now. If you're doing that as an act of the will, and I'm not talking about a passing emotion, because emotions are temptations at most, they are not sins. But if as an act of the will you say, I positively approve of the fact that I sterilized myself 10 years ago so that I won't have a baby now, well, then you would be sinning now. But it's not the act of marital relations that's sinful. It's what you're doing with your will in approving something that you shouldn't have done. So I hope that helps out. And before we go, just one more reminder that if you like what you've watched, you can help me out by liking, commenting, and especially by subscribing. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I'd really appreciate your help. Thank you, and God bless you.